Hi, I'm Dan Hegstead. Welcome to my vlog and podcast, Next Steps, Tools for Transforming from Coping to Thriving. It's all based on my book of the same title, which is a paperback, it is a Kindle e-reader, and it is an audiobook read by me. It's all available on Amazon, the link to that. Or if you'd like to book me as a speaker, all that, links and information is on my website, danhegstead.com. And we're talking about stress and stress management, why that is so important. If you haven't done episode 17 yet, I strongly urge you to do so. I have you in that episode make a list, ink on paper, of the things you find stressful. And it's really important you do that. I think I've made that point. So I want to talk a little more about stress today and why it is so important, because it infects your life. It really does. And learning to manage stress, and I say manage, not eliminate, is really important to moving from coping to thriving. And in so many ways, it's a change of attitude. And now, when you hear the word attitude, again, you think toxic positivity, and don't do that, because I could choose to not use the word attitude because it has negative connotations, but I don't do that because it's real, and I promise to be real in this, no matter how challenging it might be. So managing stress is really a matter of attitude. It's how you think about things. Attitude is how you think, act, and feel about something. So how do you think, act, and feel about stress in your life? So I want to read a quote here from The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. What a terrific book. The Road Less Traveled, M. Scott Peck, and then there were subsequent People of the Lie further along the road. Just a terrific book. And that book changed my life because it opened with a truth. Life is difficult. And I like just basic truth, as simple as it could possibly be. Life is difficult. We just need to say that and acknowledge it. So much stress is caused by us expecting life to be different. It's your expectations, and that's your attitude. Life is difficult. And then he goes on to say, this is a great truth, one of the greatest truths. It is a great truth because once we truly see the truth, we transcend it. Once we truly know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept it, then life is no longer difficult. Because once it is accepted, the fact that life is difficult no longer matters. That is a great truth. And that's what we're talking about here. Because stress is so many ways chosen because we expect things to be different. And they just aren't, so we get angry and frustrated, and that becomes more stressful. So much of this is just a change of your attitude, expecting traffic is difficult. Well, yeah, what did you expect? The road's just going to, the traffic's going to part while you get to your appointment because you're late? People are challenging. Yeah, people are human. That's just the reality of it. They're not bad, they're just human. Get over it. The weather sucks. Well, yeah, you're going to let that ruin your day? It's a choice you make. And it sounds kind of harsh, but it's like, really? You expect things to be different? There's a Buddhist saying that the secret to happiness is to have no expectations. And how true that is. So it's your expectations, you get angry, you get stressed, and so forth. So life is difficult. That is absolutely true. And I want to give you a reality check here, and I'm going to mention this a few times. You can't change other people. You can't read minds. You can't predict the future, and overstressed overachievers are not heroes. And that goes against our American way. We've got to work hard and work too hard. Those are the good people that really work hard and are overstressed. How are you doing? Oh, I'm so stressed. That's not a badge of honor, people. Get over that. Now, let me say something else here about stress. It is not always a bad thing. It's a reality, but it's not always a bad thing because stress is the thing. Think of it as energy. It can be the energy, the fuel that propels you forward and propels you toward change. Think of a grinding wheel that we use to sharpen knives and axes. You've seen those. You've probably never used one. Or a hone, which is a block of very fine, when used to sharpen a knife. Okay. That grinding wheel can make that knife or axe very sharp, or it used wrong, it can make it dull and useless. And stress is the same thing. You need to manage that hone in order to make a fine edge and make yourself useful, or it can just grind you down. But you have choice over that. So understand that, and what you choose is attitude stuff. So keep that in mind as we move forward here. Stress, dictionary definition, is a condition or feeling experienced when a person perceives, that's an important word there, it's your understanding, that the demands exceed the personal and social resources the individual is able to mobilize, just exceeds your capacities. So there's things you can do about that. We'll talk about that. Again, stress isn't what happens to you, it is how you react to what happens to you. Now, I did a piece on relaxation and meditation and so forth a few episodes back. Now, let me mention that again, too, because stress happens in an instant. You know, it's like God flushes his toilet and it dumps on you, you know, and it can seem like that because it happens in an instant, and it truly does. But you don't deal with stress so much in that moment. You deal with it ahead of time, and that's the relaxation and the meditation or whatever you do to prepare for when it happens, because it's going to happen. So you may have an instant, or you can draw yourself back into a state of somewhat calm when it happens. So you prepare for stress when it happens. You're not going to eliminate it. You're only going to deal with it in a positive way. So if you're not dealing with stress in a positive way, a lot of people are going to get into drinking, other drugs, smoking is a way to do it, poor sleep or not enough sleep or no sleep. And the idea, well, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You know, that's just stupid. Get beyond that. You need great sleep in order to function. To move from coping to thriving means you have a good night's sleep all the time, and you take charge of that. When you're stressed, you can neglect your healthy behavior, like going to the doctor and dentist. You leave your hobbies, the things that you enjoy, because you're too busy or too stressed. It reduces your immune system, and you will get more colds and sick and so forth. That's a physical fact. And you need to relax in order to be healthy. It's true. Headaches, arthritis, digestive disorders. I say when I teach Tai Chi, think of an ailment that isn't either caused or aggravated by stress. There isn't one. If you want to be healthy, you need to learn how to relax and deal with stress. This is a big deal. This is why this is so important. It gets bad enough, anxiety, depression. And again, just two words I'm going to throw out there, but it's a big deal. Your relationships, of course, will suffer, especially when the other person's overstressed, too. You'll have difficulty concentrating, reduced effectiveness at work. Well, Americans can't have that because we must be effective. You become more disorganized, which causes more stress. Difficulty making decisions. You got too many choices. You can't think straight. Anger. And of course, because we're so frustrated all the time, frustration leads to anger. And do you think there's enough anger out there for everybody? Yeah. Need to relax. You can't change those other people, but you can change yourself. Perfectionism, wanting everything to be just right. Spending, hoarding. People get into risky behavior like shoplifting and gambling and crazy driving and all that. All those are signs of stress. This is a big deal, people. We need to manage it. And you get into that fight or flight mode that, you're constantly on edge, constantly on edge. That's no way to live. And it was fine when you were going to be attacked by a bear. You need to deal with that right now, effectively. But then the bear goes away. It either eats you or you get away from it. That's not the way things are working these days. We're constantly under that stress of the bear, and we're constantly ready to deal with it. And that's no way to live. That is no way to live. No way. And that fight or flight thing constantly is just really damaging. The high blood pressure, the adrenaline and all that, it's just no way to live. It's not right. So the worst thing, I think, of all this, when you get to, and I'm literally at the bottom line here in my notes, is that it becomes normal. And we accept it as a given. That's just life these days in America. And I say, no. What I will say here in polite company is nonsense. It's just not the way it is. It just shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. It's no way to live. It's not normal. It's crazy. And once we realize how crazy it is, we're more motivated to make the changes we need to make. All right. So there you go. There's episode 18. 17. Go back and listen to that. Make your list. It's really important that you do that. Next episode, we're going to talk about some of the things you can do to actually manage stress. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Dan Hegstead. This is Next Steps, Tools for Transforming from Coping to Thriving.